Hi, it's Mike with AskContractorMike.com. In my last video, I talked about the basics of what's inside a PTO shaft. Today, and I want to send a big thank you out to WD-40 brand for sponsoring my video, we're going to talk about how to prevent damaging your PTO shaft. Because it's a pretty common problem that people can't get them to move in or out, or they blow out the U-joints. And we're going to tell you how to prevent that. But I'm also going to do just a kind of a routine maintenance on my PTO shaft because it's nasty. If you look in there, if you keep this greased well, you'll get this. And especially after you've been out brush hogging like I have during the season, you get a bunch of gunk all down in there, and it's weed seed and dirt all mixed in with the grease. And I'm going to clean all that out today. And I'm going to do some preventative maintenance on this so I don't have problems later on down the road. I'm also going to talk to you today about what to do if you have problems that the PTO shaft won't extend, and we'll talk about what to do if you bend your PTO shaft and save you a little bit of money there. So now I'm also going to disassemble this, and this particular shield I've got, if I take two clips off, it comes right out like so. And I'm also going to clean this greasy, nasty shaft and re-lubricate it and put it back together. So let's get going on that first and get that nasty job out of the way. I'll be right back. And when you get done cleaning this, these oily, greasy rags that are left over, get rid of them. I'd recommend you take them out in the middle of a field when it's not dry and burn them. Get rid of them. If you leave them in a pile in your shop, you could burn it down. Spontaneous combustion is real. Now that we've got this all cleaned up, and this is down to the bare metal, we're going to lubricate it before we put it back together, and that'll make sure that it slides in and out easy. And the best product I've found for that is this, WD-40 SPECIALIST Gel Lube, no drip. I love this product. It's designed for anywhere that you need lubrication where you've got metal on metal. I use it on my garage door rails. If you've got a trailer and you want the ramps to slide in and out, it's a good place to use it. But it doesn't drip. Wherever you spray it, it stays. And so I'm going to spray a healthy spraying of that along this PTO shaft here. And then when I put it back together, it's going to slide in and out easy. And that'll keep it moving in and out. And I won't have a problem with it rusting up. So let's go ahead and just spray a little bead down there. Now when you're putting your PTO shaft back together like this is in a kind of a triangle. It's got one lobe with a flat spot on top of it, and the female portion has the same. You've got to match those up, so I've got to feel around in there and find out where that flat spot is, and I just felt it and put those together or it won't go back together. Well, you got to put the shield on first. Don't want to forget that. All right. Where's the flat spot? Right there. And the flat spot is right there. It's going down. All right. Here we go. Sometimes they go together pretty good, and sometimes it takes a little finagling. There we go. Now that, when I get that's sliding in and out a whole lot better. Now what I'm also going to do while I've got this apart is spray a little bit on there, on the shield, and work that in and out. I've been having this gradually been getting harder and harder, and just to get my PTO shaft to extend, and that's going to make it a whole lot easier. Yeah. All right, now got to get my shield placed back. Get my clips out here and slide that back in. We got it. and there we go. Now that's going to prevent that from rusting up while the machine sits. But if it's going to sit outside for a while, I would highly recommend taking your shaft off and putting it in your garage, especially if you're in a wet climate. Now, oh yeah, a whole lot easier than it was. Now you can see I've cleaned the grease zerk, so when I go to grease it again, it's not got nasty old grease around it. Now if you'll do that once a year, you won't have problems with your PTO. There's nothing any more frustrating than go into the field, you got to get your work done, you back up to the brush hog, and the PTO shaft won't extend. So do this maintenance and you'll prevent having it not come in and out. Now let's just say you haven't done this maintenance on your PTO shaft and it's stuck. You come out to use it, the sides will not extend. And we know this one will, but we're going to pretend that it won't. So what do? Well, if you take it off the tractor, take your clips loose, sometimes these will be a screw. A lot of times you can slide your shield back. And then you've got, like from right where I am, I can see where the male part goes into the female part. And then I can use this product, WD-40 SPECIALIST Penetrant. And the thing I really like about WD-40 Penetrant is the flexible straw. I can get it right down in there, and I'm not going to do it, but I could spray all around that PTO shaft that's stuck. And that's probably got some rust in it. Let it set for a little while and then come back to it, and a lot of times it'll come right apart. If that doesn't work, then we got a problem. Then we've got to find a strap to go through here, and be careful that you don't get on your grease zerk. Put that on one tree, and a come along and a strap through the other end, and that around another tree, and just gradually pull it. And it needs to be a good sized tree until it comes apart. Now a lot of times with these PTO shafts, it's not rust that's in there, it can be just a little bit of a burr, and it doesn't take much of a burr to make the PTO shafts not come apart. Now let's talk today about what happens if the PTO shaft is bent. And I talked in my last video about how easy it is to bend a PTO shaft. If the front half comes off, you forget to disconnect it from the tractor and you back up, that can bend it. If you go through a draw with a brush hog straight through and you put it in a bind, it can bend it. It can sometimes be bent when you raise your machine. There's lots of ways to bend a PTO shaft. If it's bent, you're not going to pull it apart, you're not going to straighten it, you're not going to use it. It's time to replace it. Here's my tip of the day. Don't go out and buy a new one. Most towns of decent size, especially in rural areas, have a company that specializes in drive shaft repair. In our area, they do clutches, axles, transaxles, transmissions. They do that kind of repair. And a lot of their clientele is these guys that run these off-road Jeeps and stuff like that, but they also work on PTO shafts. And so if you take it to them, what they'll do, they'll take the yoke right here apart from the tube inside. And if it's bent, they'll do that on both sides, pull the yokes off the end, put 2 new tubes in it, and you're back in business. Probably cost you, I don't know today, last time I had it done it was like $130. Probably cost you $100, $200 to get new tubes put in there. If you buy a new PTO shaft, it'll be several $100. So this will save you money. Find that place, and if you don't know who they are, the farmers in your area, I know somebody that does it, because they don't go, they bend PTO shafts from time to time. They don't go buy a new PTO shaft every time they do it. So find that company that does transmission transaxle repair, and they probably can put new tubes in this at a fraction of the cost it'll take to replace the entire PTO. Finally, the best way to prevent a failure in your U-joints is to keep them greased. Before I put the PTO shaft back on the tractor, I'm going to shoot some grease in these grease zerks, and don't forget to grease your PTO shield. Thanks for watching.